back to the channel. Welcome back to Shay Explores Daily. And yet again I forgot to record an intro video. But this is part 2 of my trip to the Maldon district. And I visit the Combined Military Services Museum in Maldon. It's fantastic. Please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. Let's go and enjoy the video. I've come to the next stop on my video, and it is the Combined Military Services Museum. You guys know I love military museums. I've done them before, and I'm excited to see what this one shows. I'm not sure if it shows military history more relevant to this area, but we're going to see very, very shortly. Let's have a look around outside first, and then work our way in. So behind me, you've got a Thunderbird SAM missile that goes back to the 1950s. And was decommissioned out of service, I think in the 1970s, I think 1976. I think the years of service were 59 to 76, but it's got a cool bit of history about it. So as you can see guys, it's a mobile surface-to-air missile for the British Army. Thunderbird was boosted by 4 rocket motors with a solid sustainer motor. Thunderbird entered Army service in 1959 with a range of 46 miles. The missile was designed to protect the UK's nuclear deterrent, the Vulcan Bomber Force and the British Army in the field until it was phased out of service in 1976. And you can see it there, photo of it being prepared for launch, and then it being launched right there. So in front of me you have Argentine Falklands War Sighter L33 155mm howitzer, basically. As you can see, there it is in the Falklands in action, but this was the howitzer on Sapper Hill close to Port Stanley where it was captured in the final days of the war. So this was an Argentine weapon, I believe it was. So the British captured this from Argentina during the Falklands War. It was manned by 101 Argentine artillery group to protect the approach to Port Stanley. On the 12th of June 1982, a British Harrier jump jet manned by Lieutenant Murdo MacLeod attacked the position on Sapper Hill with cluster bombs. 6 of its Argentinian crew were wounded and the howitzer was sprayed with shrapnel. The damage can be seen on the right hand side. The Harrier was hit by anti-aircraft fire but returned safely to its aircraft hangar HMS Hermes. So this here in front of me is a British BL 5.5 inch medium gun Mark III. So as you can see in action there, the breech loading 5.5 inch gun was a British artillery piece introduced during the middle of the Second World War to equip medium batteries. Introduced in 1941, it served in all theatres during World War II. It was used in Korea, Saudi Arabia and Borneo, or South Arabia, I'm not sure, and Borneo, before finally being retired in 1995. It fired a 45-kilogram shell to a range of 14,813 meters and was served by a crew of 10 men. This example was produced in 1943 in Canada. And then here behind me you've got an example of an air raid shelter, which was obviously what was used during the Second World War mainly, to obviously try and shield yourselves from enemy bombs or enemy gunfire or whatever. These typically would be obviously underground a lot of the time, sometimes they weren't, but you can pretty much see exactly what it was like. It was small, nothing fancy, but it did the job for its time. Walk in, you can just see, you've got a portrait of King George, is that the 6th? King George the 6th, please forgive me if I'm wrong. You've got instructions of what to do in an air raid. So if you, in an air raid, if you are caught in the street, don't stand and stare at the sky. Take cover at once. You've got a poppy wreath here, beautiful poppies. And then you've got like, a table with like cups of tea, a few books and so on and so forth. In front of me here, you've got a PC-1400 German bomb from the Second World War. And it was produced from forged steel. It was designed to penetrate ships or forfeited buildings prior to detonation. found in the shipwreck off the southern coast of England. This cannon was likely used on board a Royal Navy vessel either for protecting trade vessels from piracy or due to the period as part of a wider war on the Quadruple Alliance against the Spanish Empire in the 1700s. So Royal Naval officers actually wore rings on their sleeves. I don't know if you can see it right there, pretty much, to show their rank basically. The colour between them shows the branch they were in. So red would be surgeons and dentists, light blue would be instructors, and green would be electricians, and purple engineers. So you can see the uniform right here. And this obviously would have been a female uniform as well, but you can see how smart they are dressed. As you look up, you've got a variety of like what are spears, and you've got like pieces of armour, as you can see, going all the way up there. I'm not sure how far back these go, pretty much. But as you go down, you can see you've got a Roman spear from 50 BC, Celtic spear 600 BC, Bronze Age spear 1800 BC. And you can see these go back centuries and centuries, pretty much. And you've got one here from the Battle of Culloden 1746 and was recovered in 1930. Now behind me has all kinds of swords and helmets in this section. Some that you probably wouldn't even have heard of, including myself, because I'm learning things every single day. But let's have a look and see what's in here. So everything from this section is swords from 1400 to 1635. So you can see here who's a variety of swords. You've got English officer's rapier from 1580. You've got a English Civil War mortuary rapier from 1635, and so on and so forth. You can see exactly the huge range of swords right here. Now, these are all armour from the English Civil War, so these are all siege armours from 1630. This is one from 1640. This is a buff coat from 1640, pretty much. The buff coat was actually a popular protective garment throughout the 1600s. The thickness of the leather varied between 3 and 5 millimeters, giving the wearer protection against sword strikes and long-range pistol and musket shots. As you can see as well, you've got another buff waistcoat from 1640, so the material was what was used to keep them protected, basically. Here you've got a Dutch armour from 1630, and then you've got an infantry officer's half armour from 1585. Here you've got armour from 1500 to 1650. So yeah, again, I'll go through them from the start. So this is a cavalry officer's half armour from 1550. This is an infantry officer's half armour from 1565. This is a suit of full plate armour from 1480. This is the armour of the 4th Earl of Pembroke, pretty much. Then you've got here, this is the pot helm from 1500, a mail shirt from 1500, and then you've got here a mail shirt from 1550. And this was recovered, I think it was used, if I'm not mistaken, in the Battle of Pilaf. Here you've got a variety of firearms and polearms. So that's a holy water sprinkler from 1510, the top one. New England club butt fowler from 1790, a matchlock musket from 1660, another one from 1620, and you can see that there basically. And then down bottom you've got like some kind of drum, and then you've got like some kind of boots as well, and you've got a really cool shield from the 15th century. You can see the English flag, the cross of St. George there in the middle. And this section is pole arms between 1500 and 1700, pretty much. I won't go through them all, but you can see a huge variety there of just various things, pretty much. So this section behind me talks about the Cockleshell raid of, I think, 1942. This is where British military ambushed German military, I think at the port of Bordeaux in France, or in Bordeaux in France. It was a successful attack by the British, and this talks about it in more detail. And here you can see some canoes, which are examples of what was used, obviously, during the raid. So you can see this one here was used by 3 people. So one person there, one person there, one person there. And this one was manned by 2 people. And you can see they get bigger the further they go on. This is a Royal Navy diving suit from 1945. Here you've got a variety of shells, pretty much, that was used. I won't go through them all, but you can kind of get a gist. So this one here, this tallest one here, was a 3rd armor piercing shell from the Second World War. This one is from 1915, the First World War. This was recovered off the east coast of England. This one here is a First World War cartridge case, and that one also is as well. So First World War, Second World War, First World War. Here you've got some wartime radios. So obviously this was done for communication. You got to remember as well that the general public didn't have what they have now, like Sky TV, that kind of stuff. So any news would come through on things like these. So this here is a German R3 receiver. This is those obviously German ones, and obviously you can see people used to write notes and stuff, etc. It was important to communicate without having the enemy actually knowing what you're doing. So you can see all kinds of equipment right here. So here you've got someone trying to send Morse code, basically. So pretty much Morse code is a character encoding scheme used in telecommunication that encodes text characters as standardized sequences of 2 different signal durations called dots and dashes, or dits and das, pretty much. It's named after Samuel F.B. Morse. So this here is a 250-pound British practice bomb. A Second World War practice bomb used for training RAF bomber crews. These would cause minimal damage during training over England in preparation for missiles over occupied Europe. Here you've got a variety of torpedoes, basically. This one here in front of me is a Mark 30 torpedo. And as you can see here, it says this torpedo was dropped by airplane and would home onto its target using acoustics. A parachute was used to control its drop into the sea. The torpedo was electrically powered and weighed 308 kilograms. This here in front of me is from a tactical strike reconnaissance aircraft, a TSR-2 basically, and this goes back to 1962. That is a diagram roughly of what the aircraft would have looked like there, and this was a huge part of it. I think this was the engine, I'm not too sure, please forgive me, basically. But you can see here some dimensions about it, basically. So this is the engine, I believe. It had 2 crew, pretty much. The weight for the whole plane was 34,500 kilograms. And the maximum speed was 2,185 kilometers an hour. So this was a huge part of it. Here you can see loads of hand grenades. So you've got here a number 5 Mark 1 practice Malta hand grenade is this one. You've got so many different types of hand grenades. You've got so many different types of fuses, pretty much as well. And then you've got here explosive bombs. So you've got here a Second World War high explosive bomb. You've got a 3 kilogram smoke practice bomb, and you can just see the huge variety here. This one here is a 250-pound target indicator sky market bomb, and this here is called a Rapier. It was developed to replace the Thunderbird missile system in the British Army service in 1971. Rapier became one of the most successful low-altitude mobile SAMs ever deployed. Now, the maximum operational height is 3,000 meters. The range is 7.25 kilometers. The fire unit weight is 1,200 kilograms. And the reloading time of 4 missiles is 2.5 minutes. So you get an idea roughly of what it looked like, and you can see how big it is. So this cannon came from HMS Lutine, which was launched in 1779 and was captured by the British in Toulon in 1793. She's originally French, basically. So this officially is a 12-pounder gun. This gun here formed part of the armament of HMS Lutine, basically, which was lost off the coast of Holland on the 9th of October 1799 It was recovered in 1913, and as you can see, this was brought into this museum to be put on display. So guys, in this room behind me, just a collection of different outfits and stuff. I won't go through them all one by one, but you can just see right here behind me. You've got a Russian reversible jacket. You've got a Zoe's operating in East Berlin. I don't know what a Zoe is. I'll put it on the screen, pretty much. You've got Captain Peter Mason's outfit. And you've just got more stuff here, as you can see. And this final one here is a East German secret police uniform. Here you have an SAS medical kit, basically. So this is from, when is this from? This is for the RAF, basically, pretty much. You can see here it's got a knife on the shoulder right there, pretty much. That is an emergency knife, and then you've got a variety of other tools and apparatus right here, basically, pretty much. So I'm guessing these would have been deployed in some very dangerous places at some very dangerous times. But as you can see, it was pretty standard. Now everything on this floor shows various British uniforms, British military uniforms. These ones behind me are the most famous, the famous red uniforms. We're going to go around now and have a look. So this one here is from the 1800s, if I'm not mistaken, pretty much. And then you can see here a variety of swords. This sword is from 1853, that one's from 1834. This uniform here is from 1854 to 1855, as you can see. And then you've got here, you've got a grenadier cap from 1768. This one was from the 1854 Crimean War, pretty much. You can see yet again what it looked like. The Crimean War of 1854 is when Russia invaded Turkey, and Great Britain and France assisted Turkey and sent forces to Crimea with the aim of capturing the port Sevastopol, denying the Russian Navy access to the Mediterranean. These uniforms here were used by local militia, so people operating mainly obviously at a local level. So here in the United Kingdom, you can see that there. And you can see a variety of military badges. So this is West Essex. These are all for Essex, where we are now. And as you can see, it just keeps going down and down. You've got a King's Royal Rifle Corps uniform. You've got ones for lifeguards, and then you've got medals. So here you've got uniforms from 1880 to 1930. So I'm guessing it goes by date. So this is 1890, and then these are from the First World War, so the Battle of the Somme. So this is what they would have worn on the Battle of the Somme on the 1st of July 1916. As you can see, some more uniforms there. And these are from the First World War still. This is a uniform of the Machine Gun Corps, which was formed in 1915. Now these here are from the Second World War, pretty much. So this is a uniform of an infantry officer, I believe. This one here is one for a tropical tank crewman from 1941. This one here is from the Parachute Regiment from 1940, and this one is one of a paratrooper in 1944. And as you go down, this is one for Royal Marine, pretty much. And you can see there Royal Marines in the background there on the beach, and normally you can't really see it. And here you've got one of uniform of Sergeant Lieutenant battle dress, well, a Sergeant Lieutenant battle dress uniform from 1943. Isn't it interesting that you can see the UK's military history as time's gone on? You can see the history through the uniforms. Sometimes people don't always know the names of various battles or wars, but when you actually show photos of uniforms, it brings a visual picture into their mind, and that's what that's done for me just now. So here you've got post-World War II uniforms. So this is from the Cold War, 1979. As you can see, you've got like a gas mask there, so it kind of reflects the time of history that it was worn in. You've got uniforms that were worn in Northern Ireland during the Troubles, I think. pretty much. This is from the Falklands War in 1982, pretty much. And as you can see with this one, you can tell it's the Troubles because he's got riot gear. I don't know if you can see the shield, but there's a shield right there. He's got like riot gear there. He's got a baton and a shield. I don't know if you can see it, but moving forward, this is from the 1980s, pretty much. And this here is from 1990. This was used, I think, by the Royal Marines in some kind of cold environment, I'm not too sure. This hair is from the 1991 Gulf War, as you can see there. And as we move on into this century, this is from Iraq, basically. So this is from the 7th Armoured Brigade from Iraq. They were called Desert Rats because obviously they were in the desert a lot, I'm guessing. This is from the Gulf War, Basra in 2004. But actually, they're called Desert Rats because they adopted the Jerbera or Desert Rat as their formation sign. Sorry. And this here is a counter-terror police uniform, as you can see right here. So these here are all RFC and RAF uniforms, basically. So you can see here just a variety of uniforms here. These are ones for tornado pilots, pretty much used in Iraq. These are from the Falklands War of 1982, pretty much. This was used by naval nuclear bunker personnel in 1970. And I spoke about the Desert Air Force before, but this was from the Second World War, Desert Air Force, 1941, October 1941, basically, pretty much. And this one here was used by the Fairey swordfish pilot, a swordfish torpedo bomber pilot in cold weather from 1941. These are bomber command uniforms right here, pretty much. And this is the flight suit of DC Stevens, basically. Yeah, pretty much, so you can see that there. This one here is from a Second World War pilot, 1942. And this is from the Dam Busters raid, basically. These uniforms here. And finally, ground crew who worked in the Battle of Britain. This is their uniform here. And this is the Royal Flying Corps uniform, basically, from the RAF in 1912. It's important to remember as well, guys, that the efforts to win the First and Second World Wars weren't always done abroad. A lot of it was done at home. A lot of people stayed back and made lots of sacrifices in order to help the soldiers who were fighting on the front line to win the war. So this here is a variety of home front uniforms I'm going to talk to you about right now. So these are from ARP Wardens, basically. So these are Air Raid Protection Wardens, and this is their uniform, pretty much. Their main role was to enforce blackouts so that the enemy aircraft could not spot the lights in the buildings below. They would also assist the emergency services and general public during and after the air raids. Here you've got the Women's Land Army, basically. So these uniforms here, this one here is from 1942. This one on the right hand side here. And as you can see, you've got another one here as well. And you can just see exactly what they look like. And this was a nurse's uniform from 1944, pretty much, as well. And down here, I don't know if you can see it, but these are all gas masks for hospital patients. So if they were in hospital, let's say there was a threat of, any kind of chemical warfare, whatever, the gas mask would be there to help them. And this here is a uniform for an artillery territorial service, which was a woman's branch of the army during the Second World War. And here you've got an example of an RAF operations telephone room from 1940. Now this type of telephone will be used in the operations room to call the airfields and scramble the individual squadrons during the battle. And here you can see various bits and bobs, like notes and information about the defence of Great Britain. So it's what people did at home to protect the United Kingdom. So you can see right there, people built anti-tank obstacles. They're like little bumps that couldn't, basically. All road signs were taken down and railway station names were removed. I don't know if you can see that. And yeah, pretty much you can just see people at home made a huge effort to essentially defend this country. And you've got some more information here regarding Operation Sea Lion as well. And then you've also got a soldier's diary, pretty much. It was written from the 6th of March 1945 to the 8th of May 1945, so towards the end of the war. And it was from this gentleman here, I believe, and it was just his own diary of how things were. This section is called Women at War, basically. So you've got a variety of women's uniforms. So Women's Royal Army Corps uniform. You've got another one, Women's RAF uniform, pretty much, which was formed in 1939. Yet again, another nurse uniform. You've got a Women's Royal Navy Service uniform right here, pretty much. You've got a long-range desert group uniform here, and so on and so forth. This one is an SAS captain, basically, as well. So you get an idea right here. This is a mountain assault trooper from 1944. And this one finally is a SAS jungle uniform from the Malayan emergency between 1948 and 1960, I believe. So guys, in this room, just a variety of firearms, as you can see. I was told the ones in yellow are extremely rare. So this is a Remington Army model from 1875. A Luger P08, basically. Apparently it's very rare. Another rare one, a Colt Supermatch HRS caliber .38 Super. You've got a Saint Etienne model 1874, and so much more, as you can see. It's all part of just a huge collection, as you can see, all historic in here. This is a Victoria Cross medal. The Victoria Cross was the first British gallantry medal that could be awarded regardless of rank. And in 1855, Queen Victoria ordered the new gallantry medal to be made of a low-value metal rather than a precious metal to ensure that the recipients would not sell the medal for its material. That is it, guys, for today's video. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let me know, where should I go next? In the meantime, I'll see you on the next video.